You should be able to hear me. Okay, you can hear me now. Terry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Mhm. Yeah, cool. Do we know if Damo is going to be here? Or is he missing again?
He'll be here.
All right, cool. Okay, we're there. Okay, ready to begin?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, give me a sec. In the meantime, you guys know about anything related to sports day, right?
No, sir. No.
No, okay.
No, sir.
Second. Okay. Hold on. I need to share my screen. I need to- Tell me if you can see my screen, please. You see?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So we can begin. Okay, welcome back to class, gentlemen. On Tuesday, um, Damo, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the recording for Tuesday, did you?
No, sir.
All right, no problem. So I would have accounted for that. I want to do a small recap for what we did on Tuesday before we move on to the next part of the unit. So this would act as, I guess, a recap or refresher for Tariq, and it's going to be brand new information for you, Damoy, but I won't be able to go through all of it. So I will summarize what I did, and then hopefully, if you have time, you can go through the recording and get the in-depth stuff. Um, but yeah, all right. So what we have talked about on Tuesday, where we started Unit 3, we covered the 6 most common challenges in systems integration. The challenge, when I say challenges in systems integration, I'm talking about the things that can go wrong in an integration project. Um, and let me see, let's see. Right. So I just want to do some quick recap to make sure that we're all on the same page. Where am I? Okay. So we're going to do the recap, and then I'm going to do some quick examples, 2 examples, so that we can make sure that the information that we went through is solid. We should be able to do the examples, even though I'm only going to be doing a recap or a refresher or a summary. But if it's not enough information, you can let me know, Damoy, and we can probably spend some more time on it if I can, if time allows. Where am I? So yeah, we're going to go through the recap, and then we're going to do some scenario activities where you identify the challenges, um, and then we can hopefully transition into the next half of Unit 3, which is the best practices or the solutions to the challenges or problems. All right. So first, we're going to walk through the 6 challenges quickly. On Tuesday, I would have used a fictional Jamaican retail chain called Island Mart as an example. Um, Island Mart, I said, is an organization that has 12 stores island-wide that are trying to integrate 3 systems that they have. The POS, that being the point of sale system, their inventory system, and then their e-commerce system. When I say e-commerce system, I'm just talking about their website. So at any point you hear me say e-commerce, I'm talking about their online website or the online portal. So I'm going to use the same Island Mart example so that I can remain consistent. So again, what we're talking about is the 6 challenges in systems integration. These are the things that can go wrong. We'll talk about the challenges, and you can think of those as the the problems or the diagnosis, and then After the challenges, we'll go into best practices, which you can think of as the treatment to these problems. All right. Okay. So the first challenge is multiple vendor responsibility. So when you have different vendors building different parts of the system, and when I say different parts of the system, I mean we have different systems in our organization. You might have a company that's in charge of, or not in charge of. You got a particular system that was built by one vendor, vendor A, and then you have another system that you're using as well that's built by a different vendor, vendor B, right? So multiple vendor responsibilities when you have multiple vendors building different parts of the system or building different systems. And when something breaks, or if you have any kind of problem and you try to resolve that problem, assuming that you don't know where the problem lies, for example, you make a call to a particular vendor and then say, oh no, their system is fine. It's probably somebody else, or it's probably something else in the system that's broken, right? So going back to the example I used with Island Mart, their POS vendor, so the vendor that built the POS system, the inventory vendor, and the e-commerce vendor will probably all point fingers at each other when an online order didn't reach the store. Yeah, so that would be an example of something that you'd have to go through when you have multiple systems being built by different vendors. Yeah, it's just a matter of having to manage people. I guess it's a people problem, having to manage different people or having to manage different organizations anytime something goes wrong. Tell me if I'm clear, Damoy. You know, Damoy hearing me? Should I just continue?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I'm clear. Just making sure because I remember this recap is for you, you know.
Uh, I think so.
All right. I think I know what you mean by you think so. As we go on, I'll get a better idea. So that's challenge one. Challenge two now, varying stakeholder perspectives. You have different departments in your organization, and each department, they might want something different from as a result of the integration. So going back to the example of Island Mart, you have store managers, which is one organization or one part of the entity. What they want from the systems integration project is stability. They want to make sure that the system works the way that it always worked all along with the added features. So they want stability. But marketing, which is a different part of the organization, different department in the organization, what they want is speedy real-time inventory updates. That way they can implement flash sales anytime they want, and they won't have to, wait for any configuration to be made to the system before they can actually implement those sales. So they want fancy brand new features that allow them to do their work faster. That's marketing. IT, for example, what they want is for the integration project to go slow and securely to enhance or to ensure security, right? So they don't want to rush anything, they don't want to miss anything. They don't want to have to do double work or triple work. So they just want to go slow for the sake of security. And then the finance team, all they want to do is find out how to cut costs. So I mentioned the different parts of the organization a while ago, and I mentioned all of their different needs. The varying stakeholder perspective shows that everybody's pulling in a different direction. Everybody wants something different, which is understandable. So that's another people related problem. And the problem comes from the fact that you as a system integrator is going to have to try to appeal to everybody. But if you try to appeal to everybody at the same time, you may end up not appealing to anybody at all, right? So that could be a problem. So that's challenge number two. Challenge three, insufficient supporting infrastructure. That one is a technical problem, a hardware thing. Well, maybe not hardware only, but it's technical. So the existing infrastructure, and when I say infrastructure, I mean like the technology that's being used in the company. When it's insufficient supporting infrastructure, it's when the existing technology can't handle the integration. So imagine the store have basic internet, right? They have the slowest internet that you can get. Their POS terminals or the cash registers, they're running Windows 7. And the head office servers, their hard drives are fully maxed out and they're running on very old technology or very old hardware. This becomes a problem because when you design your integration plan, or you build the integration software to link these three systems together, your software could be very, very good. It could be the best software. It could be world class. But if you try to implement it on these old systems, then you're going to find that the integration will not be effective. It may not even work at all because you don't have the supporting infrastructure, right? So that the problem comes in not having the existing foundation or infrastructure for you to put your implementation on top of. Okay. All right. So that's challenge 3. Challenge 4 now. Product transfer or machine to machine communication. Another technical problem. And this one is linked very closely to interoperability. So imagine having to get data to flow between the systems, but these systems speak different languages, right? Going back to the example of Island Mart, so you have a case where your POS systems are using some proprietary format. Just want to clarify, you know what I mean by proprietary format, yes, Damoy? And I don't want you to think I'm picking on you. I would have asked Tariq all these questions from Tuesday gone. But when I say proprietary format, you understand what I'm talking about?
The main are
No, man, not primary. So when I say proprietary, what I mean is it is not an open format. It's not an accessible format. So you know how like you can write out some data and you can write it in JSON or you can write it in XML or CSV, which is something that you can just open in a text editor and you can just read it. A proprietary format is something that is built specifically for a company and it is only usable within the company. So like you have a company, the vendor, for example, that built this POS terminal or this POS system, the point of sale system, the data that they ingest and output can only be read and understood by these terminals and somebody that work in the company. If you try to give me the file and I try to open it in a text editor, it would probably not work. So that's what I mean by proprietary. It's not something that's open and accessible to everybody to just look at. It's meant specifically for the company and it takes special software or hardware to be able to interpret it or understand it. Get what I'm saying? So that's what I mean when I say proprietary.
yes, I understand this.
Okay. So in this example, in this challenge, product transfer or machine to machine communication, um, one of the problems may come in where you have your different systems speaking different languages or the data is formatted differently. And the example I gave is where the POS systems may be using a proprietary data format. The inventory system may be using XML, and the e-commerce system that uses JSON because it's running on a REST API. So individually, before we do any kind of integration, that's not going to be a problem because each system is independent. People interact with each one of these systems independently. So the person that's using the system, they know how the data is supposed to be formatted. So they know how to input data and they know what to expect when they're getting data out. But in the event that you're going to be integrating these three systems to work together without the human interaction, you're going to want these three systems to be able to talk to each other. And when they currently exist where they talk in three different languages, the problem comes about where you're going to have to solve or you're going to have to implement, translators, or you're going to have to make it so that the fact that these three systems speaking different languages is no longer a problem. Yeah, so that's the challenge in product transfer or machine to machine communication. That's challenge number 4. And then challenge 5. Oh, by the way, I did want to make sure. So in the examples that we've done before, the activities that we've done before, there are times when like I would go through different concepts and then I'd give you an activity. And the activity would have you, for example, name a particular concept that we have gone through. And maybe I'll just go to the slide and, go back and forth. I want to know if you are in the habit of, Damoy, this is specifically for you because I asked Tariq already, if you're in the habit of writing stuff down while I talk, or if you write stuff down when you see it on my screen so that I don't have to go back to the slides because I'm going to do an activity and it's going to have you name some stuff and go into some detail. So I want to know if you'd be able to do that or if I need to, I haven't shared today's slides yet, but I can share the slides if that helps.
So you're asking like Oh, can't ask that because I wasn't here for the last class. Uh, just asking if we take like small notes or jottings about
Yeah,
specific
I
parts.
just want to know how I can make it easier for you to refer to these concepts that I'm going to be asking questions about later in the slides. Because like this, I have an activity. I'm going to be asking questions. And I don't want to have to be going back and forth between the slides. So I want to know what is easier for you? Do you write down the slides? Do I need to share the slides so that you can read it yourself? Or what do you want me to do? Should I just go back and forth between the slides? What's easier?
I
Come
think
again?
in a way it would be a little bit better if we like write down certain things, but I don't think we're gonna have everything because
Okay.
I do write things down. So,
All right, no problem. After we go through this, we'll do the first activity. You tell me how you feel, and then depending on how it goes, we can adjust. All right, so let's continue. That was challenge number 4. Moving on to challenge 5 now. I haven't lost it, by the way, right? Just um checking in. And
no,
Tariq
no,
also, I'd
sir.
assume that you're good, right? Okay, Damo, you said no, you're
I'm
okay.
good, sir.
Yeah, man, all right, cool. So challenge 5, conflict of dual assignments. So conflict of dual assignments now is where staff are doing their regular job and also the integration project at the same time. So this would be an example of where you don't have an ICC. Remember, we talked about ICC in Unit 2, and the integration project is not being handled by an external entity. So it's being handled in-house, but they don't have an ICC. So the problem comes about when the staff that is working their regular normal job, they're also given the task of performing the systems integration. And an example would be like at Island Mart, where the IT manager, um, the IT manager was the lead integrator, and that person is also responsible for keeping the 12 stores running daily. So the IT, the technology that the stores use to uh, stay up and running, he is or he or she is in charge of running all those technologies as well as performing the integration. Um, so in a case like that, that person is going to be stretched very thin. Integration meetings going to get postponed or canceled, or if it's a case where one of the POS systems crash, they're going to have to be the one to divide themselves so that they can solve that issue while also trying to fix the issue of integrating the whole system, all the systems. All right. So that is a conflict of dual assignments. Basically, just when people are being stretched in because they're given extra tasks on top of their already existing 9 to 5. And then challenge 6 now, insufficient training and poor planning. These two kind of two in one. So insufficient training and poor planning looks at when the integration works. So when I say the integration works, I mean the software that was built or the implementation of the project or the product works fine in theory, but it technically doesn't work because the people who are supposed to be using it were not trained to use it. Or maybe the project scope was poorly defined. I'll give an example of what I mean. So going back to Island Mart, it could be a case where the store staff didn't know how to process an online pickup order. And the marketing team expected, for example, a loyalty point system, but that was never communicated to the integrator. So they didn't even know that it was supposed to be done. So those two examples I gave a while ago. Um, one team that was supposed to be using the platform, they didn't know how to use it. So technically it worked because it have all the features that it's supposed to have, but nobody knows how to use it. So it's technically useless. And then so that would be what's that again? That is insufficient training. And then the poor planning part of it now comes in the fact that um, there were stakeholders that were involved that were expecting a particular feature, but they didn't get the feature because it wasn't actually a part of the plan in the first place. Or maybe it was a part of the plan and it wasn't properly communicated. Whatever the problem might be, that would just come about as a result of poor planning. All right. Okay. So that's the six challenges. And you find that whenever you have one of these problems come up, it will either link into another problem that will amplify another problem. Um, well, actually, no, let me say this. You rarely have only one of these challenges at the same time. And then, in addition to rarely having one challenge might be the reason for another challenge. And we'll see some examples of that happening in the activity. Um, in a real world project, you find three or four or maybe five hitting at the same time, and each one will make the last one worse, right? So what I want to do in the activity, given that we understand, I want to take a look at this activity. It's supposed to have us basically, it's a short scenario, and you're supposed to be able to identify the different challenges as they are defined above. So I'll read it out for you. Um, and then both of you, I want to hear from both of you. Actually, in case like this, since I'm going to be reading it out and I want to hear from both of you, I would like if I could hear from both of you individually. So after I read it out, or if you want to read it yourself, I want you to take some time, give 2 minutes. I want you to think about it, write it down if you need to, and then I want to hear where you think the challenges are coming from in this scenario. What of the six? And it's not just one, it can be any subset of the six. So for the scenario, St. Catherine Parish Health Department is upgrading its patient management system, and they're integrating three systems. The legacy patient records database that was built in-house 15 years ago. So in-house, when I say in-house, I mean it was built by staff members that work in the organization. And it was also built 15 years ago. Then now, the next platform that we want to integrate is a new cloud-based appointment scheduling platform that came from a US-based vendor. So they're an international vendor, all right? And then now the third system that they want to integrate is the Ministry of Health's reporting system. So the Ministry of Health, they may not necessarily be a vendor, but we can consider that to be a local vendor, a vendor in Jamaica. So with three systems, one system was built in-house 15 years ago. The second one was built abroad and was made available to the health department. And then we have the third one that came from the Ministry of Health. Okay, so the department has two IT staff, um, two IT staff members, and they are already handling their daily technical support for the entire building. The scheduling vendor's system sends data in JSON format, but the legacy database only uses CSVs. The doctors were informed about the new scheduling system in the same week that the integration went live. And now they are frustrated that nobody asked them how they prefer to manage appointments. So, given that scenario, I want you to take some time. If you need me to go back through any part, or I mean, you have it here on screen, you can read it for yourself. Take a bit of time and think about which of the challenges you can identify and explain why. Please and thanks. And then we can discuss. We need any more time or we're good?
Ready.
Sir, sir, well,
Mm-hmm.
the one, the one that I
Say again,
can,
please.
the one that I can identify right now, I
All right.
think, is
Mm-hmm.
conflict of dual assignments.
That
So
one is, I know which one you're talking about, but I'm not any. Oh, it is conflict. My
number
mistake.
5.
I apologize. Yes, conflict of dual assignments. Yes, go ahead. I'm listening.
Uh, because one the scheduling vendor sent a JSON file, while the legacy database only accepts CSV files. So
Okay, so you're explaining two different challenges at the moment. So that means you identify two. Well, maybe you identify one and you give it the wrong name. Let's look back at the
yeah.
definition for
Oh, sorry.
challenge.
Sorry. So it's 1 and 5 then. So multiple vendor responsibility.
Okay, that's okay. Still, you told me three just now. So the one that you described a while ago about the
The
JSON,
number
wait, is JSON or CSV?
the
CSV, yeah, CSV
JSON
and
and the
JSON.
CSV.
That's
Yeah.
this one. That's four. Product transfers. So data formats mismatch between systems, right?
Yes.
Tell me if you agree.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hmm.
sir.
And then
And
now you mentioned dual conflict assignments, but tell me why. I'll look at the description. If you want me to go back over it, I can go back over it.
wait, go back, sir.
To this.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Oh, sir, it would be like the part where the doctors were informed about the new system, but I'm not sure if I'm right about that. Not sure I'm right about that, but possibly
All right.
the doctors section where it's talking about the doctors were informed about the new system the week it went live, but nobody asked how they prefer
That
to
is a
manage
problem.
appointments.
Which one do you think that one is classified by?
Uh, Insufficient training and poor planning.
Mm, okay. I would agree with that. All right, let me hear from Tariq and then we'll come back to you, Damoy, because you are definitely making some good points, but I think you need to get your thoughts in order a little bit more. So, Tariq, let me hear from you.
Don't worry, basically list them out. So you have the multiple vendor responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
which because there's the legacy patient record database,
Mm-hmm.
there's the cloud-based appointment scheduling platform,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the Ministry of Health national reporting system. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one would be the conflict of dual interest, which is the two IT staffs that handle the
Mm-hmm.
daily support.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one would be the product transfer because of the JSON. The
Mm-hmm.
scheduling vendor uses JSON while the legacy database uses CVS, which would be a mismatch.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
what else?
So that's three. What if I told you there
Yeah.
were three more? So all six challenges are present here. So you named three of them. So since I told you that there are three more, that means you can just tell me the names of the other ones. But more importantly, I want you to tell me why or what part of this scenario tells you that, or what part of the scenario is linked to that particular challenge.
Okay. And the next one would be varying stakeholder perspectives because
Mm-hmm.
the doctors were informed about the system the week when it went live.
Mm-hmm.
And what the next one would be.
Well, actually, no, hold on. If that's the end of your point, I wouldn't say that definition doesn't link to the challenge. You said that the challenge is that the doctors were notified the week the integration went live, which yes is a problem, but that's not varying stakeholder perspective.
I mean, the doctors wouldn't have been able to voice their concerns and their what they wanted from the system because it just went live.
Right, but that isn't varying stakeholder perspective. So it is a challenge, it is a problem, but that's not varying stakeholder. It's something else. What is it?
It'd be poor planning.
That is poor planning. Yeah, I agree. That is poor planning. What else? Can you identify any varying stakeholder perspectives?
Nobody asked how they prefer to manage their appointments.
Come again?
The part where it says nobody asked how they prefer to manage appointments.
Right, exactly. And that would imply that maybe they have, where is it? Yeah, so it would imply that their needs actually differ from what the IT team implemented. Yeah. So the IT team had an idea of what needed to be done, but the doctors had a different idea. So that's varying perspective. Yeah. So the fact
And
that they weren't consulted, yeah, go ahead.
using the built-in house system from that was made 15 years ago be insufficient
Yeah,
infrastructure.
I would think so too. So insufficient, where is it? Insufficient infrastructure. The 15-year-old legacy database that only accepts CSV wasn't necessarily built for modern integration. So yeah, that could be a problem. Is that all six? Let me see.
Yes, sir.
It is. Let me go through them. What I have on my notes. I have multiple vendor responsibility. So in-house legacy, US vendor, and the ministry. That's the three different sources or the three different vendors. And there are going to be accountability gaps when data doesn't flow. So yes, that's challenge number one. Challenge number two is insufficient infrastructure. And you talked about it where you said the 15-year-old legacy database that only accepts CSV not being built for modern integration. And then keeping that same example in mind, the product transfer or end-to-end problem that we have where one system is using JSON and the other system is using CSV, those formats mismatch. And between them, the scheduling platform, oh, wait, hold on. Scheduling platform, wait, where is it? So JSON versus CSV format, mismatch between the scheduling platform and, oh, right, yeah. So that's three. And then number four, conflict of dual assignments, where the two IT staff are doing daily tech support and they're also doing the integration. So they have additional tasks on top of their regular 9 to 5. Challenge number five, insufficient training and poor planning. The doctors they were informed the week it went live, and there was no consultation on preferences. So that's poor planning. And then varying stakeholder perspectives. In addition to them not being informed, the doctors, they also seem to be upset by the fact that they weren't consulted, because if you had consulted them, you'd have known that this is actually what the doctors want, as opposed to what you actually come give me, which is not what I wanted, right? So them being upset that they weren't consulted implies that their needs differ from what IT actually delivered. Yeah. So in a scenario like this, as small as it may seem, it shows all six of the problems. Um, and it's okay that you only saw 3 or 4. Hopefully, with practice, we can be sharper and be able to get them a little bit better, identify them a little more easily. But it's good that you were able to identify any of them at all. Um, so one thing to point out, you notice how do you notice how the problems can lead one into the other one? So like one problem can basically turn into two, the two last ones specifically with the doctors. Did we see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir.
Right. So that's something that we need to look out for. Another one that was, I guess, two problems in one is the whole idea of the database running on CSV being very old. The fact that it was CSV was one problem, but it's only a problem because another system that's supposed to be integrated with it does not speak CSV. And then the next problem was, even though it's not explicitly stated, the fact that it is such an old system, it may not be compatible with the integration, or it may not allow for the integration to be implemented in a way that would have been ideal for these three systems or for this organization because of how old it may be. So it may be incompatible with whatever it is the system integrators wanted to implement. All right, good. So let me see. Any issues on that? Any questions about that? Want me to go over again? Or can we move on to
Yes, sir.
another activity? We're good? All right. So let's take a look at this scenario now. So in scenario two, we're going to be doing the same thing. But in this case, what I want you to do as well, I want you to rank the challenges by severity, right? So I'm going to be asking you to tell me what the challenges are, justify them, and then tell me which one you would tackle first if you want to be able to resolve the problems. I don't want you to tell me why in your own words. All right. So we'll go through this. Carib Freight is a Jamaican logistics company that operates a fleet of 40 trucks island wide. They're integrating their manual dispatch system with a new GPS fleet tracking platform and an automated customer notification system. So that's two different systems. The dispatch system runs on a desktop application installed on 3 office computers. It doesn't have any API and it doesn't have any way to export data. The only way it can export data is if you print the data off of the computer. Yeah. The GPS platform now, that was built in Trinidad. So the vendor is in Trinidad and they only provide support for the application during Trinidad work hours, so in their own time zone. The notification system is a SaaS. Do you guys know what SaaS is? SaaS?
System
Software
as
as a
a
service.
yeah.
Software as a service. Good. Damoy, were you saying the same thing?
I almost said system as a service. Right?
I think
But
is it system or software? Hold on. It is.
sir, I
Wait.
think it's software.
Feel like it might be software. Let me wait. Hold on. Is this safe? No, this is safe. Okay, cool. Never mind. SaaS. Whoops, that spelled that wrong. SaaS. Software as a service. So it is a cloud-based software model where the provider hosts the application on remote servers to deliver to the users over the internet, typically via a subscription. All right. So yeah, the Trinidad vendor, they are providing the notification system as a SaaS or a SaaS product that requires a stable internet connection. But Carib Freight's rural depots have unreliable internet connectivity. The company's one IT person is also the office manager. Also, the drivers were told that they were going to be tracked by GPS, but they were not consulted about the rollout. And several of them, because of this GPS tracking business, several of them are threatening to quit. So, with that, let us identify all the things that are wrong. And I want you to tell me, in your own opinion, which one is worse than the other. I want you to rank them by severity and tell me which one you would tackle first and why. I'll give you a few minutes. I'll give you 2, 3 minutes to think about it. 6:50 is when I will ask you to give me your opinion. If you need me to go back to the challenges, I can put them on screen. Oh, the Trinidad vendor made the GPS fleet tracking platform, not the notification system. Am I right? GPS platform is from Trinidad. Trinidad towards blah blah blah. The notification is a SaaS product. Oh, there's a notification system different from the Trinidad people then. Notification system is just an online thing. So it's three systems. All right, 650. Ready? Or I need a little bit more time.
We're gonna need it. Well, me gonna need a bit more time. Not sure about Tyreek.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Say you
Can
want more
try
time?
to.
Saying I need more time, but I'm not sure if Tyreek need more time.
Oh,
So if
okay.
anything, Tyreek can go first if you want.
Okay. Need any more time, Tariq?
I can start now.
All right. Sure, no problem. Go ahead.
So the first challenge will be the what is the multiple vendor responsibility because they're
Mm-hmm.
integrating a manual dispatch system that uses a desktop app and it doesn't use
Mm-hmm.
no API with a
Mm-hmm.
GPS fleet tracking platform.
Mm-hmm.
And the next challenge would be the infrastructure because it relies on a stable internet
Mm-hmm.
connection, but
Mm-hmm.
the rural depots have unreliable connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
And the next challenge would be conflict upload assignments
Mm-hmm.
because the one IT person is also the office manager.
Mm-hmm.
And the next challenge would be the poor planning. Would be
Poor
no
planning in the
the
form
it
of
would-
what?
before that it would be varying stakeholder perspectives because the drivers
Mm-hmm.
are told they'd be GPS trucks
Mm-hmm.
and they were consulted and they're threatening to quit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And lastly, it'd be poor training. Poor
Poor
training?
training.
No,
Mm.
no, I don't think it'd be poor training.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't think I see any training in this one.
yeah, it would
But
be poor training.
but
So
remember,
the challenge.
poor training and insufficient training and poor planning are the same challenge. But they're considered the same challenge. So
Uh,
yes, maybe there's no good training, or rather,
yeah,
the training might be not be the problem, but is there any
the
examples of
planning.
poor planning?
I see.
Tell me where you
Hmm.
think poor planning would come about, if
Yeah,
at all.
because they didn't um consult the
Hmm.
drivers.
I agree.
Drivers.
Yeah. They weren't consulted, and it's because they weren't consulted. Well, they weren't consulted, and because they weren't consulted, them being told that they're going to be GPS tracked is news to them. And if they were consulted, then they would have the opportunity to give their feedback and say, well, I mean, I kind of don't like that. But because they weren't told, they're now threatening to quit. Yeah. Don't mind, let
And
me hear
with
from you. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was asking if would the tracking platform using Trinidad hours with
Mm,
automated customer notification system, would that be a product transfer because it operates on Trinidad hours?
I would not consider that product transfer because product transfer, the Trinidad hours is how we get support. So, like, if something goes wrong with the system,
Oh,
we would have to call them during Trinidad work hours time. So I feel like
because
they're, I think,
I was wondering if it was
outliers.
involved with the customer notification
Oh, no,
system.
man. So it's not that the system only works during Trinidad hours. No, that's not the case. It works when it's supposed to
Oh,
work. But if something go wrong with it, we can only call them during their 9 to 5, not our 9 to 5.
oh,
I mean, there is an
understand.
overlap, but I feel like, how it go? Are they an hour ahead? So that means when it is 4 o'clock for us, their work day is done, I think. something like that. I remember. But yeah, it's still reason for concern. It still can cause a problem. But what problem is it?
Hmm. What problem can that be?
So would it be the infrastructure?
Mm, no, not really. Let me see. Tell me why it's infrastructure.
Because if it's using a Trinidad-based vendor and it doing Trinidad hours, then they can't do the proper integration.
Remember, okay, just to clarify one more time. Trinidad hours is only a concern because if something goes wrong with the system, then we can only call the Trinidad-based vendor during Trinidad work hours. So that's where the work hours thing come in. Is if something goes wrong, we can only call them during their 9 to 5, not our 9 to 5.
Would that be
That
the
just
multiple vendor responsibility?
I think so. It would fall under multiple vendor responsibility.
yeah.
I do believe it would. Did you mention M2M? Actually, since I've heard from Tariq, you want to give me your opinions, Damoy? We can do the ranking after. So let's identify them first. Damoy, you want to identify?
Uh, um. Well, we just discuss the multiple vendor responsibility, especially
Mm-hmm.
since is the drivers and the one IT. Is that what you say? Yeah, the one IT person have
Yeah.
a conflict and then the people threatening to quit. So they're blaming
Mm-hmm.
each other that way. And then, as we discussed with the Trinidad based vendors, and then especially with their timing and everything. So it will still be
Mm-hmm.
in the motive and the responsibility.
So it's
And
already hear that last part. Come again, please.
so it still be in the multiple vendors responsibility
Mm-hmm.
section. So and I also think that I think possibly the varying stakeholder perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So the different wants of the people. So it would just like transition into each other, being that since they're having problems like that, it would be everybody have different wants or different outcomes or want. Wait,
When you say everybody, who do you mean?
the drivers and
Mm-hmm.
the one IT person.
Right, the integrators. That mean IT.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
and and in a way, I don't know if I'm right about this, but probably
Mm-hmm.
the insufficient infrastructure since it's saying that it's using a desktop app. It has no API and paper reports only.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay. I feel like that's
is
a
it
fair take. So you're saying that the system at the moment
is only a desktop app? It
is running
doesn't
on
have
desktops, and their only way of transmitting data is
is
by
through a paper
printing.
report.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think I have it in my notes, but that is valid. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I got to go back to my notes. But yeah, that makes sense. That is a limitation by the system itself. So that's fair. Okay, good. Let's see. Let me see if we hit all of them. So what I have, oh, I think did we mention
No,
product transfer or machine to machine?
no, sir, I didn't mention it, but
We
I think
did
that
not
would
mention that one.
also transition into it since they're using a different format from each other. And the software is a
Right.
system requiring certain things.
Right.
Um, would also fall into that since it requires stable internet, which might not be.
Okay, I'll take your word.
We
Yeah,
can
I
be going
understand what
too
you're
far
saying.
with that one, but
No, man,
yeah,
I understand what you're saying. But I will help to clarify. So the first one I have is product transfers or machine to machine. That problem comes about because the dispatch system does not have any API at all. So if it is a
yeah,
case where you want to be able to integrate these three systems to work together, the dispatch system already needs to be reworked because it does not have any way of programmatically or systematically or soft copyly getting data out or into the system, or I guess out of the system, because the only way to export data or to transmit data out of it is by printing, right? which is not going to help with integration, especially in a software kind of way. Yeah. So that's a problem. Getting data out of it into the GPS platform is going to be a major technical barrier. All right. So that's the first one. The second one, okay, yeah. The second one, insufficient infrastructure. I say insufficient infrastructure specifically because the rural depots, they have unreliable internet. And internet is going to be important because the SAS notification system cannot function without any kind of internet connectivity. It's something that is delivered over the internet. As the definition I gave you a while ago says that software as a system is usually being hosted by a remote server that is accessible to the organization over the internet. So if the depot has unreliable internet, it's going to be a problem getting connected to that SAS system. So that I would consider insufficient infrastructure. So then if we better and get better internet. Multiple vendor responsibility. So the Trinidadian GPS vendor with the limited support hours is limited because it's, there's going to be an overlap, but we won't have access to them. When I say we, I mean carried freight. So they won't have access to them during the work hours, assuming that they're not in the same time zone as Trinidad. Which one is that again? That was number 3, multiple vendor responsibility. So Trinidad GPS vendor with limited support hours. So that's one. The SAS notification provider is another entirely different system. And then you have the desktop dispatch system, right? 3 different sources. And then you have that time zone gap that you're going to have to navigate around. All right. So that is multiple vendor responsibility. Number 4 is conflict of dual assignments. That one is a relatively easy one. You have one IT person who is also the office manager. So they're going to have to be the one to do all of the managing of the technologies in the system or in the organization. And in addition to that, they're the one that is going to have to perform the integration. Number 5, insufficient training and poor planning. So it's more of a poor planning thing, in my opinion, where the drivers were not consulted and they're the one that are going to be involved in using the system. They're threatening to quit because they were not made aware of the fact that they're going to be tracked via GPS. So that being a human problem, not really much of a technical problem, but it's still a problem nonetheless. And then that would feed into the varying stakeholder perspective, where management wants efficiency and tracking, but the drivers themselves, them see it as surveillance and they're being resistant to it. Yeah. So one person want this, other person wants something else, or they don't want that particular thing. Yeah. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, with that in mind, I'd like you to think about how you would rank these in terms of severity. You don't have to give me all of them, but just give me the ones that you think are most severe off the top of your head. Which one would you tackle first if it's a case where you wanted to be able to resolve these issues? Which one do you think is the worst one? And tell me why.
Sir, I tackle the driver's issue because they're threatening to quit, and if they quit, there basically is no company because the company relies on the truck drivers. And if a
I agree.
majority of the truck drivers quit, the operations are going to slow down. And then the
Okay.
next challenge I'd look at, hmm, I'd say the poor infrastructure. You'd want to ensure there's a better connectivity. And what else?
You want to hand over to Domoy? Let me hear what he has, and then we can come back to you if anything.
Sure.
Domoy, let me hear from you. Which one sounds like the burning one in your opinion?
So I think the burning ones would be, yes, the drivers, but I think better planning would make the drivers not be threatening to quit. So I would say we'll deal with the poor planning first. and then we deal with the conflict of the dual assignments, which would be the driver
Mm,
issues.
wait, wait. You said conflict of dual assignment, but you mentioned driver. That's two different problems. Come again. I agree in you saying we need to tackle the conflict of dual assignment problem. But your
No,
definition.
the poor planning part.
No, man,
The
you
poor
said that, which is
planning.
good. I agree with that. The poor planning in that we need to make sure that the drivers don't quit. So we need to talk to them and get their opinions first. What was the second one?
I think the second one would be the
Did you
dual
say a second
assignments,
one?
but
Yeah.
I think dual assignments. But since you said that, it's probably the um
Hold on. Where does the dual assignment come in? Like, how? Tell me how you know. What was said in the scenario that lets you know that there is dual assignment conflict? Let me go back to the
the one
slides.
IT person, the one IT
Right. Good.
person.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hmm.
Since
Any
they're
others that
doing
come to
everything,
mind?
and then the integration problem,
Which one? This whole thing is
with
an integration
The
problem.
Trinidadian and the Trinidad the Trinidad base vendor, and also
Hmm.
with the API of the manual dispatch system, along with the GPS. uh Wait,
So it sounds like you're talking about the machine to machine problem,
yeah,
the product transfer problem. That's what it sounds like.
yes sir.
All right, all valid takes. Tariq, did you have any more?
That might identify the rest.
Okay. So I think we can all agree that the burning one, the most important one that we need to fix is we need to talk to the drivers because we can't have them quit. Because as Tariq said, without the drivers, we don't have a company. That I believe, I agree with the both of you in saying that that one is the most important one. So better planning needs to be done. That problem, like I said, is a two-in-one problem. We have insufficient training and then poor planning. The training did not seem to be an issue in this case because the drivers didn't even get to the point where they were using the system and they never know how to use it. We never even got that far. It is a case where they heard that they were going to be tracked via GPS and them said, no, me don't want that. And if you wanted that, you should have talked to them about it first so that I could have told that I didn't want it. And they did not do that. So since they never did that, I'm leaving the company. So we need to solve that first. I agree with that. And with me saying that, I want to make it very clear. In this case, there are no wrong answers. As long as you can justify why you believe that this one is more severe than the other, then it's fine. It's just that, in this case, we all seem to agree that we need to make sure that the drivers don't quit. The one that I personally would tackle next is the one where is the machine to machine one. The biggest issue in my opinion, with the machine to machine communication is the fact that we have a dispatch system, is a dispatch system, right? That one doesn't have any way of communicating with other systems on the network or otherwise. It only prints data. So we need to resolve that because if we don't resolve that, then it is impossible to perform integration. We can't integrate that particular system with any other system. Or I guess rather what would make more sense is we would not be able to get the data out of the dispatch system into the GPS fleet tracking platform, which I believe is what we specifically want in this case. So we need to tackle that as well. We need to rework that system to make it so that that system can systematically or programmatically or whatever automatically talk to other systems on the network or otherwise. Which other one? The unreliable internet connectivity is a big deal as well, because if it's a case where we are dependent on internet for this particular integration, and you don't have good internet, then it's going to make it so that the integration itself is going to be available when the internet feel like it, which is a problem. That's a huge problem. So I think that's another thing that we need to fix right away. Um, hmm, the IT person thing, the one IT person, I think that can come next, in my opinion, because yes, it's not okay to have one IT person doing all of these jobs, But I don't think having more people in the IT team is going to make these other problems go away because the internet is not going to be solved by having more IT people. So we need to get better internet first before we can get more IT people. Um, and I think the fact that the Trinidad thing, the time zone thing, I think that would go at the bottom of the list in my opinion, because maybe because I'm thinking about it from the fact that we're in Jamaica and they're only 1 hour ahead. So I kind of feel like if we lose 1 hour, it's not the end of the world. We just need to plan around that a little bit better. So I guess it would maybe come in the form of better planning. But yeah, that is my take on it. You guys good with that? Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right. So with that, we should be able to move now into the positives, the bright side, the solutions to these problems that we have been looking at and harping over, right? Um, so for the challenges, no, not the challenges, the solutions. We're not going to go through all of the solutions in this session. I think there are 9 in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there are 9 in total. We're going to do the first 5 today, and then we'll do the rest next week. One sec. Yes. So yeah, you'd have seen how these challenges, we'd have looked through, well, in this class, we looked at 2 different scenarios, but in total, we went through 3 because I did one scenario last week as well. So don't worry, whenever you get the chance, you can take a look at the recording and see if you can do the activity on your own, compare your answers to the answers we talked about in class. But yeah, we're done with challenges now. And now we're going to be looking at the diagnosis, not the diagnosis, the treatment, because the challenges are the diagnosis. Right. So the strategies that experienced integrators use to prevent or manage the challenges is what we're going to be referring to as the solutions. And I said we're going to be covering the first 5. All right. So yeah. So first, best practice, selecting a reliable systems integrator. So this one is about partnering with an experienced, reputable integrator who has done this before. You're not trying to figure it out from scratch. That would kind of be a waste of time. It might be a waste of money. You want to bring in somebody ideally who has already solved these problems, right? So we're going to look into why this matters. Thinking back to the multiple vendor responsibility challenge, when 3 vendors are blaming each other, a good system integrator will sit in the middle and manage all of the problems. They're the single point of accountability. They being the system integrator. They are the one that have worked with these integrators before, or sorry, with these vendors before, my mistake. So they know what the gaps are already. So they are the ones that can get things unstuck. And the key word here is reliable. Not just any integrator. You don't just want any old integrator. You want a reliable integrator. You want one with a good track record, good reputation, have good references, and experience in the particular industry that you're trying to integrate the system for. And a system integrator that has done hospitals, for example, is worth more to a hospital than one that would have worked on a retail system before. You get me? So when we're looking at selecting a reliable integrator, some of the things that we need to look at is their experience and where their experience comes from. Make sense? Tell me this.
Yes, sir.
So selecting a reliable systems integrator is our first best practice. Okay. Best practice number 2, allocating the project manager roles and the decision rights. So did I say the same thing twice? Allocating the appropriate roles and the decision rights to the project manager. This comes in the form of making sure that the person who is running the integration has the authority to actually make decisions. This solution addresses the conflict of dual assignments and varying stakeholder perspectives challenges, those two challenges. If the project manager can't override a department that's blocking progress, or they can't allocate the budget without going through all three approval layers, then the project is going to stall. The project manager needs to be the person of clear authority. Whatever they can decide on their own, my mistake. We want to know what they can decide on their own. They need to know what needs to be escalated, and they also need who to escalate the problems to. So we need to define all these decision rights, and we need to allocate their goals before we can clear the problems of having varying stakeholder perspectives and also conflict of dual assignments. In practice, this would mean that the project manager's role is defined in writing before the project even starts. So it's not going to be a case where we're going to figure it as we go. We don't want to do this. We want to have it written down on paper, so there's paper trail, and you want to make sure that this is agreed upon by all the stakeholders. That way, when the project is done, you can't say, oh, how come you guys never said this, or we never planned for that, or it was out of scope. You get me? We want to make sure that all these things are defined and agreed upon, more importantly, agreed upon by all stakeholders before the project starts. Is that one clear? Do you have any questions on that? That is...
It's clear, sir.
Yeah. Am I all good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Wait, let me see. What's on this slide? Oh. Okay, never mind. Wait, where am I? Sorry, one sec. I'm confusing myself. This is slide number 6. This is slide 7. Oh, whoops. I should have been switching slides. My apologies. But yeah, it's fine. This is slide 8. I talked about slide 8 already, right? Yeah, I did. Giving the project manager clear written authority to make decisions and resolve conflicts. Yeah. So it addresses the conflict of dual assignments and also the varying stakeholder perspectives. The PM is the one that can override blockers and priorities. And the PM's authority is defined in writing before the project starts. Yes. Okay, good. This one, no? Okay. IT governance and frameworks. IT governance frameworks. So the two frameworks that we're going to be looking at are COBIT and ITIL. So best practice 3, IT governance approaches, specifically using frameworks like COBIT and ITIL. I think I would have gone through something ITIL related in the past in a previous job. But yeah, let's look at COBIT first. So COBIT stands for Control Objectives for Information and Related Technologies. And it's a framework for managing IT at an enterprise level. It helps organizations align IT with business goals, managing risks, and ensuring accountability. So think of it as the rule book of how IT decisions should be made, right? So that's COBIT. ITIL now is the Information Technology Infrastructure Library. And that's a framework for IT service management. It gives you structured processes for things like incident management, change management, and service delivery. And you think of it like a playbook on how IT services should run day to day. I believe we will probably going to have to go into those 3 things individually. Those 3 things being incident management, change management, and service delivery. Are you guys familiar with those concepts already, or I need to go into those? Incident management, change management, and service delivery. Come again? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, let me bring that up. I don't currently have notes on that, but I suppose I can find something to explain it. Change management is the one I'm most familiar with, so I can explain that one. But excuse me, incident management, if it is what I think it is, it's just basically how you manage incidents. So yeah, incident management is a structured IT service a structured IT service management process designed to detect, analyze, and rapidly resolve unplanned service disruptions, restoring normal operations while minimizing business impact. It follows lifecycle logging. Wait, it follows a lifecycle logging categorization. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a way of getting unexpected occurrences resolved in like a timely manner in a way that does not interrupt other processes in the business. So it's just a formal way of getting incidents managed. Change management, that one I would have had to be change management. That one I have been involved with in different companies. So change management is a structured approach to transitioning individual team. Wait, hold on. From a current state of desired future state. Let me explain that one in my own words. So change management is the process by which changes are made to an existing system. It's a case where you have a product or a system or a platform in a business, and there is a change requested. A particular entity is requesting a change be made to that system. You, as the developer or whoever you are, you can't just get up and just change the way that system works. You have to propose that change to the change management unit, explain to them what the change is, tell them why you're making the change, and tell me who made the request to have that change. Tell me what the impact will be, if any. Is there anything else? Impact. And I guess in addition to impact, what the change would look like. But I think I already said that in terms of being able to describe the change. But yeah, and once all those things are communicated to the change management unit, they are the ones that are going to decide whether or not they think you should make the change, whether at all or at the moment. Yeah, I think I should have said those in the opposite order, whether at the moment or at all. So yeah, that is change management. And then the third one was service delivery. I have no idea what service delivery is. Hold on. Service delivery is the structured process of providing services to customers. Oh, it's just how the services are delivered to customers, encompassing engagement, execution, and follow-up to ensure quality, consistency, and satisfaction. Okay, yeah. So it's a case where you want to be able to formally design a process whereby the systems and products that you're providing to the customer, you want to define on paper how those products and services are going to be delivered or exposed to the customer. Yeah. So those three things. Is that clear? Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think if anything, I will probably make notes on those three individual things and I'll share them on Canvas. But yeah, so ITIL is the one that covers, the ITIL framework is the one that governs how those things are supposed to be defined. It gives you a structured process on those three different types of processes or management styles. And you can think of ITIL like a playbook of how IT services should be run day to day. Okay. So these frameworks, COBIT and ITIL, they address multiple challenges. They help with wait, what slide am I on? I'm on slide 9. Okay, yeah. So these frameworks address multiple challenges and they help with the varying stakeholder perspective by creating a shared process that everybody follows. And they help with poor planning by providing structured methodologies. And they help with insufficient infrastructure by including capacity planning and service level management. That one I'm probably going to have to go into a little bit more as well, but we'll come back to it. But yeah, you don't need to memorize the details of COBIT and ITIL for this course, fortunately. But what you need to know is that they exist at the very least and what they're for. You need to know what they're for. You need to know that using industry standard frameworks is best practice in system integration. So just know that they exist and what they're used for. All right. If anything, we'll come back to those particular details that I mentioned a while ago in depth. But we're good so far, yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. Best practice number 4 is benefits realization approach. So this best practice is about measuring and ensuring that the integration actually delivers the business value, the value that it's actually supposed to, right? So this one may sound obvious, but it's a practice that is most often skipped. The project done, right? And the systems are connected and everybody moves on to the next thing. But then 6 months later, nobody can actually really tell you whether the integration actually improved anything, right? Did it reduce the manual data entry problem? Did it speed up reporting? Did it save money? And if you never actually measured these things, then you're not actually going to know. So benefits realization means defining what success actually looks like before you start. So it's a case where you have an idea, you have a problem, and you may have a solution in mind, but if you don't actually define what success looks like, then when the project is actually implemented, if you didn't know before what success is supposed to look like, you may not know if you're successful at the end of the project because you didn't define what it's supposed to be before the project, right? So where was I? Benefits realization means defining what success looks like before the project starts. Measuring it during the project and then verifying it after the fact. So after the project is implemented. If the integration was supposed to reduce the ordering process, the processing time by 40%, you need to measure the baseline before the integration and then actually measure and compare after the project is implemented. So you measure before and then you measure the result after to be able to verify that the processing time was actually reduced, if that is the goal. And then this best practice addresses the poor planning challenge. It addresses it directly because if you've defined the measurable benefits upfront before the project, then the project has clear targets and everybody knows what they're working toward. Tell me if that's clear. Tell me if you understand.
Understand, sir.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of the SMART acronym? SMART acronym. My mom used to
Yeah, but I don't
mention this
remember
to
what
me
each
all the time.
one
Yeah,
means.
me neither. But my mom would always mention it to me. But I also don't know what it stands for. It is specific, measurable. That one is really important. Measurable, achievable or attainable, relevant or realistic, and time bound. Yeah. So I think that specific this best practice will, what's the word I want to use? It will incorporate SMART, SMART practices very heavily. Because in order for you to know whether something was achieved, you have to do measurements before and then after. You can't just say, oh, we have a problem and then implement a fix. And then you don't know if the fix was actually beneficial. I mean, you know that the fix was implemented because you went through the whole project and you did what you say you were going to do, but you don't know how it compares to what the problem was before. So you have to have those SMART goals. All right. So that is benefit realization approach. So the next one now, best practice 5, the feedback elicitation from all key stakeholders. So this one is about engaging stakeholders throughout the process at every step of the way, not just at the beginning and at the end. We want to do it continuously. So think back to the health department scenario with the doctors. The doctors were informed the week that the system was going to go live. Nobody asked them how they wanted to actually manage their appointments. That scenario defines the opposite of feedback elicitation. If you'd asked the doctors 6 months earlier, you'd have probably built something that they actually wanted to use, right? As opposed to building something that you thought was supposed to work. And then when the day come or the week comes and you actually go live, them say, oh, this not help nobody, right? So this practice addresses the varying stakeholders' perspectives head on. Instead of finding out at the very end that the different teams wanted different things, you'd surface those conflicts early when you can actually still do something about it. You do regular check-ins, you do demos to the various teams, and then you do feedback loops. Feedback loops is where we keep the stakeholders in the conversation throughout the entire process. So you talk to them, get feedback, and implement the feedback, right? Or not necessarily implement the feedback, but in getting their feedback, you'd know whether you are going in the right direction or not. Yeah. And then the keyword in this case is all. So not just the executives who are approving the budget or the ones that are paying the money. We want all of the stakeholder feedback. So we want the feedback from the end users who will be using the system every day. We want the feedback of the IT staff who are going to be maintaining the project or the product, and the customer who's going to be interacting with it. Everybody whose work will change because of the integration. All those people, they are the stakeholders, and all of their feedback matters. Good. That is 5. Yeah, we're good on that. That's clear. Oh, whoops, was I on? Oh yeah, I was on the right one. Yeah. All good? You guys hearing me? Hello? Wait, some wrong speakers? No?
Yes, sir. Here, yes, sir.
Oh, all right, cool. Just to make sure. I need feedback from you guys. Yeah. So was it clear? Do I need to go back through any part of it? Or are we good to wrap up?
Very good, sir.
The more we good?
Yes, sir. Gonna need to, well, me
All right.
personally, gonna need to look over the last class. It's,
Okay, yeah, no problem. So yeah. So what we've covered tonight is all 6 of the challenges. We recap the challenges. And we did some practice, we did some activities, spotting them in 2 new scenarios, that being the parish health department and also the logistics company. And then we started on the best practices now. The 5 best practices that we looked at tonight, we didn't cover all of them, but the 5 we looked at tonight are selecting reliable system integrators, allocating project manager roles and decision rights. We also talked about the IT governance frameworks like ITIL and COBIT, benefits realization, and also feedback elicitation from stakeholders. Tuesday, I think what we'll do is there were a few concepts here that we probably need to go a little bit more in depth in before we continue. But I will go in depth with those, make sure we're all on the same page. We'll do a small recap on the 5 that we covered tonight, and then we can move on to the remaining 4 best practices that are, oh, change management is involved in it. Okay, yeah. So change management, contingency planning, observing similar domains, and training programs. And then after that, we're going to be doing more activities. We're going to be doing matching activities where we connect the specific challenge to the best practice that addresses them. And that should complete unit 3. I guess depending on how that goes next week, we'll know if we'll actually need to do any more or if we can finish unit 3 there. But what I ask you to do is review the 6 challenges and also review the best practices that we looked at tonight before Tuesday. Know the names of each one of the practices and best practices and the challenges, and be able to explain them in your own words. Yeah, so that we can have more discussion on Tuesday. That sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions before we jump off? Did we talk about the quiz? I feel like Tarika, we talked about, wait, no. Oh, wait, I finished grading the quiz. You guys saw your results, yes? You only saw your feedback.
oh, yes,
Any
sir.
comments on that? Do we think that the grading is fair? You guys want to come at me for any reason? Oh, we're good.
We're good,
I
sir.
think all good? Okay, cool. Tariq, all good?
I haven't checked it, sir.
Oh, okay, no problem. Well, you can check it and let me know if you want to cuss me out or any for anything reason. Um,
It's okay, sir.
okay. It's okay because you got the
Wait,
good
wait, wait,
grade?
wait, wait. Actually, wait this, sir. Wait, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, the PLC concept part, sir.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, let me bring up your feedback one sec. Um, are you okay talking about this on the call? Or you want privacy for any reason? Like, I just
No,
want
no,
to
no. It's all
make
right,
sure.
sir. It's
Okay,
not that
all good.
it's not about like my answer. It's just that
Oh, is a question specifically?
yes, sir. I don't think I really understood it, so I just started answering.
Yes, sir. The last
Oh.
question B.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. Um, One moment. Section two.
Yeah, the
Let's
Yes,
see.
sir.
fundamental PLC concept.
Okay, hold on. That is the assessment one. And then we have, is it this? This. Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna have to edit the video. Okay. Never mind what came up on screen a while ago. I got to edit the video before I upload it. All right. My mistake. So question two. Identify the current PLC phase at tech vibe. That one, the tech vibe thing?
Uh,
Was it that
yes,
one?
sir. The Tech
Yes.
Five
What?
one.
Mm-hmm. So it says,
The one fundamental PLC concept.
is that the one where you said decline? Is that one you're talking?
Um,
Explain one fundamental PLC concept that tech vibe should consider as it plans to overhaul its product. Explain how this concept applies to their situation. Is that the one you're talking about?
yes, sir.
All right, hold on. One sec.
So, sir, what we're wondering is like what you mean by
Mm-hmm.
the PLC concept.
Hold on. One sec, one sec, one sec. Pull up feedback. Give me a sec. Mm. Okay, so this one is this, and you said that is question two. So one fundamental PLC concept, um, a concept would have been like the concept we went through, like planned obsolescence. Hold on, let me say strategic reasoning, show general awareness. All right, tell you what you do. Can you give me your feedback on Canvas and I'll get back to you? Because I don't have my head on at the moment to be able to give you the information that you need.
Um, yeah,
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
probably, sir.
You said probably? I didn't.
Yes, sir, probably.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Tell me what you do. Tell me your feedback. No, and I'll get back to you. What you say? You didn't understand the question?
Yes, sir. It's just that
Okay.
we know what the PLC phases are and everything, but then we saw,
Mm-hmm.
I saw like PLC concept and like
Mm-hmm.
Concept.
it's asking to the about the concept. I was lost, so I just started
Okay.
writing.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It kind of confused us.
Okay. Explain what was meant by PLC concept. Okay, cool. Let me get back to you on that. Huh?
If they say no, is
And then
like
see if I can make it clearer.
planned obsolescence and project.
Yeah. I'm going to refer to the slides when I get back to you. So I'll find out exactly um what it is I meant, and I will refer to it in the slides just to show that, just to clarify. But yeah. So let me get back to you on that. I'll if anything post an announcement on Canvas about that. All right?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Mm.
it's not like the learning part is just that I don't think we did understand
Oh yeah,
the
man, that's
concept
fair.
of it.
That's fair. Understand.
Yes,
But
sir.
I want to make sure that the question is clear. So that it doesn't something like this doesn't come up again in the exam or something like that, or in a different assessment. So I'll explain.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man, no problem. Okay. So yeah. You yeah, if that's the only thing, enjoy the rest of your weekend and we'll meet again on Tuesday.
Same to you, sir.
Take
Mhm.
care, sir.
All right, cool. Thanks.